like you went through the whole thing, and then all of a sudden at the end of it, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way."
Yeah, they got these spots on your lungs, Like, okay, what? Hey, I don't know. You got to go see this oncologist. So, hey everybody, Forever and Counting Love here. I'm Anthony,
I'm Serena.
and it's been a little while.
It's been a long while.
It's been stuff happening,
Lots of stuff
stuff
happening.
going down. It's going down.
It's going down.
It's I don't know. Just get right in, get into it.
Go for it.
How you feeling right now?
Right now,
At this very moment,
trying not to cry.
yes,
It's okay.
I can agree. I can agree. Um, I mean, I don't know if we want to just, we'd have to kind of have to lead up to it, but there's some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah.
Um, it's hell getting old. That's all there is.
My dad says that getting old is not for the wimps.
I'm a wuss.
Not for
Golly,
wusses.
man. So I guess we start at the end of January. You went to your dad's.
The beginning of February. Yeah.
End of January, beginning of February, something like
Yeah.
that.
My dad had knee replacement surgery. He'd had
Not
his
both knees.
no, he had his right knee done 2 years ago, and I went up for that and helped him.
Golly, 2 years?
Yeah.
Seems shorter than that.
And that one just seems so much easier too. Like, but this one was he'd when he was in high school, he was playing football, and some guy came up behind him and took his knee out. I don't know what that's called, but took his knee out. And when it did, it knocked the knee completely out of place. Like
The old football injury.
the old football injury. And my grandparents, being the people that they were, didn't take my dad to the hospital. So they just
Well,
popped it right back in place. And so my dad always had problems with it.
put some tussin on it.
Put some tussin on it. And he always had problems with it. It would pop out randomly.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. I remember walking in a store one time, and we were walking
my knee.
yeah, and we were walking around the toy department, and all of a sudden Daddy was like, ow, that hurt or something. And I was like, what are you doing? Because he was sitting on the shelves. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I gotta pop my knee back in place.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So that knee was like there was no cartilage, there
You
was
might want
no
to leave that to the professionals.
there was nothing in that knee. And so, and because he'd had the other knee done, that one being so bad, and he had the other one done, well, he started like walking funny because this one's straight and nice and neat and the way it needs to be, and this one now is starting to bow.
Almost kind of like I was doing, walking funny.
And so it bowed out so far that when the doctor did the knee replacement, he couldn't pull all the ligaments back straight. So Daddy was having a hard time with this one. So he's still having a hard time.
So you've been home now
About a week.
Less than a week, and it's April.
Yeah.
April.
I was up
9th?
there for 2 months.
Yeah. Seems like 2 years when you're sleeping in the bed by yourself.
I was sleeping in a twin size bunk bed.
Okay.
On the bottom with our 23-year-old sleeping on top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't. That was.
So basically, we finally came to the. We've been back and forth for quite some time about moving away from here, and I guess finally, to me, I felt like I was just I didn't I didn't want to leave Dad. Dad passed away, and then it's like I don't want to leave my mom. Then Mom says you need to leave. And so I don't know if that's what I was waiting for, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Then we were finally like, all right, let's do this, and we started looking. Then,
I get a phone call about 3 weeks ago.
oh gosh, it was more than 3 weeks ago. I didn't think you had been gone very long.
No, I think it was about 3 weeks.
That you'd been gone.
No,
I can't remember now. But
no, because Taylor just started her job. So it had to have been like 3 weeks ago. We get a phone call, and Anthony's like, I don't want to worry you.
not the way to start out a conversation.
No, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Really,
And he's like, I don't want to scare you, but I fell out of my truck.
we're not talking like a little pickup truck. Like in a Kenworth, and
It's
been
like,
driving for I don't know how long. Never had any problems, and for some reason, this one time, I opened up the door, put my foot on the step, and then I'm laying in the mud. And so that's like a pretty good,
drop.
you know, and yeah, I told the doctor, and I told a friend, and I think I told you, like, I didn't tell my boss, but well, I mean, I told my boss and reported it and everything, but like, I don't even remember touching the step. I was just like,
I know.
I may have, but it just like, I mean, that's like a good 3.5, 4 foot,
Yeah.
and just bam, hit the ground.
The best part was, though, he's like, oh, I'm just going to go home and sleep it off.
And I was okay at the
I
time.
was like,
At the
no,
moment,
you're not.
I was, like, okay, we'll just kind of shake this off, and you've done crazy things before. I was like, we'll be okay. It's gonna hurt a little bit, and in a couple of days we'll be back to 100. And let's go. Then, luckily for me, we got all these trucks in our yard, not our yard, in our work yard, and my buddy was in the next truck next to me, and he's actually a paramedic, and I'm grateful that he was there.
Yeah.
And he just kind of walked me through. Like I was trying to do something, he's like, da 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 da, da, just you know. So once I got up and going, and I went inside and I told him what happened, and I said, I think I'm just gonna go home. And from that walk from the office to my car and get on the phone with her, and I was just like, dude, it's starting to hurt bad.
He's like, I think I'm just going to go home and sleep. I'm like, I think not. Go straight to the hospital. I'm calling our daughter. She's gonna meet you there. And he's like, are you sure?
I just didn't know what to do. You just like, it's not every day you fall out of the truck and get hurt. So yeah. So I go to the hospital, and once I got to the hospital to get out of the car, I was like, holy crap, I can't get out of the car. Just I mean, it tensed up that bad.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good walk from where I parked to the ER. And luckily there was most hospitals has the guy that cruises around in the golf cart, and so he gave me a ride up front, thank you Lord. And from the golf cart to the door, I was like, oh man. Then just somebody just happened to be coming out as I'm trying to walk in. He's like, don't move. And they went and got a wheelchair and wheeled me in. And you feel sometimes like, not that you like totally give up, but like you got to rely on everybody else to get you to,
In the
you know.
in
So we go through all that, and took off a couple days of work, and went back to work, and probably should have stayed home a little bit more. But actually, like by the third or fourth day, remember, I was like, all right, we're feeling okay. And I remember because like, you know, because that happened like on a Monday or Tuesday,
maybe.
and I think I took Tuesday, Wednesday off or something. Then by the time I got going back to work and moving around on Friday, I can't remember, but I was like, I was okay. I felt okay. Then like that Saturday morning, I went to go work, and
Nothing.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I'd call Serena up, and I was just like, oh, man, just so I, relaxed the whole weekend. That's hard to do in bed when you know you got to be working. These bills ain't gonna stop just because you got hurt.
Yeah.
And then how long was it before we went to the primary?
I think you had an appointment like that next week. What was the follow up? So had it been within 2 weeks after?
Less than that.
Yeah.
Then he, he
Did
hits,
a scan.
we did the scan. Then he asked me, this is where everything just kind of, you know, he says, well, why did the
Why'd they send you home with an oncologist?
oncologist? And I was like, I have no idea. And not that I'm not that I'm playing dumb to the man, but I really didn't know what an oncologist was. I really
Really?
didn't know. I didn't know. And he's just like, I said, I'm sorry. I was like, I don't know. It doesn't run in our family. It was like, we don't know. I don't know. And then he says, well, that's, they deal with like, you know, anyway, if you know, it's hard to talk about.
Mhm.
So then that goes like, what, another couple weeks? And
Because they did a scan, he did an x-ray, and then you went back, and by then your hip was really hurting,
oh, yeah.
and he gave you a painkiller, and like you went through the whole thing, and then all of a sudden at the end of it, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way."
Yeah, they got these spots on your lungs. Like, okay, what? Hey, I don't know. You got to go see this oncologist. So back and forth and around. And so, you know, actually today, we actually went and finally seen this guy. And
Went from spots to a nodule to a mass, and I was like, how is this happening? Like, how are you using different words that mean totally different things? Like, spots are spots, little circles, could be nothing. Nodule is something, and a mass is so.
then he asked us so anyway, so he he tells us about he's like, so did your primary, he's like, did he tell you about the
Cirrhosis of the
cirrhosis of
liver.
the liver? And I'm like, what is going on? Just no, he hasn't said nothing to us about that. And he asked me like two more times, didn't he? Did he tell you about it? I mean, then it's just like, is he just explaining what this is about, or is this like what's going on? And then he starts asking all these questions. Well, how much do you drink? I don't. The last time I had a drink was at the Christmas party.
I'll be having one tonight.
you know, no, I don't smoke. Well, did you ever smoke? Well, yeah, when you're a stupid kid. You know, have you ever been exposed to asbestos? It's not like there's put signs on the wall like asbestos right here. Yeah. No, I don't know.
It was hard. So we have
So
to go for another PET scan.
we got to go for a PET scan, and next week, and like 2 days later, we go back, and he'll let
Hopefully
us know
get
what's going on.
something.
So I remember I mean, I know we talked about all this stuff, but you know, the one thing I remember, like we were sitting there, and remember he asked me, he's like, "Are you feeling depressed?" Oh man, you got you got time? We're probably gonna be here for a while. And I told you, I just like, uh, you get all these, unfortunately, bad thoughts in your head of, what's going on, what could happen, and then I feel like I just like I'm letting everybody down.
But you're not. You're not.
But that's just in my head.
I know. It's like I told you, you're more than just a paycheck. You're your dad. You're Anthony. You know? So it's all right. It's gonna be fine. You know?
It's like when you talk to the doctor about all this stuff, it's like you never think that you're gonna have to have the conversation,
Yeah.
uh, or vice versa, me or you. Like we're sitting there and just, and I get kind of worried. You did too. I kind of seen your face, and like when they take you back to the office, like this is my first time going to see this guy, so they had to draw all this blood. And they told you like, well, you're gonna have to wait out here, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
what, then they're like, oh, well, once we're done with this, then she can come back. Oh, okay. It is like,
Yeah. I know, me too. I was like, no, he doesn't know to ask questions. And,
the right questions.
so it's just a lot. But it'll be okay. We'll get it.
It's hard to think about, like you don't know. Like we went this whole time waiting to go see this guy, and we still don't know. Now we got more questions. We need more answers on top
Yeah.
of the other answers that you didn't answer. And all he really said was like he tried to explain it to us best he could, and he kept saying he's like, can you use your imagination?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
and
can't use my imagination
no,
on this one. Sorry.
let's don't imagine nothing.
No.
But he had like a, I kept saying like a sculpture, but these doctors' offices have like, you know,
The molds and
yeah,
stuff.
there you go. So he had one of the lungs, and he took like a piece of paper and he wrapped it around the lung.
Well, because Anthony's is the spots aren't on his actual lungs.
I didn't know that.
They're on
On the outside.
it's the covering that covers the
Yeah.
lungs. And so that's the spots, the nodules, the
Yeah.
mass,
So
whatever.
every time like you hear something like that, you think like inside your lung. That's what I never thought about like it was going to be on the outside, and that's why I said, "Oh, it's on the outside." And he goes, "Well, yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay." And you just, okay. So
Yeah. So it's just a lot. It's a lot.
so we went down there this morning, and I thought I was just gonna let's do our thing, and then I'll go to work, and then it was like I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do this crap today. And Serena just had to say it once, like, why don't you just stay home? Okay. Yeah, just so I had to let them know that because I told them I was going to be there, and now I'm not.
I think that if you had went in, it would have been a lot on your head all
Oh,
day
I wouldn't have been
long.
able
And
to.
yeah.
So, but the main thing I took away from him was like you got to change things up.
Yep.
Yeah, you're a big strong guy, but it's not going to do no good if you're not healthy. And
Yeah.
you know, like in the first thing we kind of talked about was like you got to change your diet. Hey, we're not perfect.
Yeah. This is true. So
You do what you
now
can.
Anthony will probably stop fighting me on trying to get healthy stuff inside the house.
I haven't stopped doing all that everything. You know, it's it's expensive to eat healthy. That's for
It
sure.
is.
We just went to some store today, and it doesn't matter how much we spent, but we only had 2 bags. Uh, I'm sitting there like shaking my head. Okay. Yeah. But it's got to start somewhere. This was the first place to start with, so yeah. But
It needs to, like, it's not just the food thing. There are other stuff in our lives that needs to change. There are other things that are
on this
probably
place.
is making us sick.
So you see, like the boxes behind us. Before all this happened, I was just like, well, I just started boxing stuff up, you know, and then everything happened, and everything stopped. So now I got, like a dozen boxes that are packed up in our bedroom here, and there's
And
more stuff
boxes
out there.
stress me out.
And so it's like, like I don't know what to do because I think, we've talked about it. And it's like, I don't know. because obviously when you start a new job, you move elsewhere, you start a new job, and you got to start your insurance all over again. And I mean, we've already talked about that, but we don't need to go over that all that. But it just
But people do it all the time.
I wonder why people are depressed all the time. Just upset, frustrated, and,
But I think too that well, it's my soapbox. Never mind.
no, you're fine.
I think that it's the food that makes you sick, and then the food people, I don't even know what you would want to call them, are on it with big pharma, make them sick. Well, if you make them sick, then pharma gets paid, and then it's a big circle, goes around and round and round, and
And I don't want to be like going to the doctor. Well, how about you take some of this and prescribe? Then all of a sudden, I'm taking 4 or 5, 6 different things every day,
yeah,
not to fix the problem, but
just keep it medicated just enough so that, oh wait, now we gotta give you this because this pill that we just gave you has this side effect, and now you need this pill for that side effect, and so that's my soapbox. So we just gotta change, get out of here.
so I thought it'd be, maybe. I mean, yes, we're always talking, but sometimes it's better for me to talk to somebody else too, because I feel like I load her with so much stuff, and just
Okay,
so what do you always ask me?
are you okay?
What's going on in that head? We ain't got enough time.
Scare people if I told them what was in my head.
And on top of it, like I'm not completely healed from the fall. So
His
like that's why
muscles.
I feel like I'm fidgeting and moving around because
He's
it's
doing the
uncomfortable.
picnic. Yeah, he
Yeah.
has a muscle in his hip that's still like bruised or sore, so it's trying to heal.
But it's hard to heal when you
Don't let it heal.
have to work, and you can't just
Let it heal.
sit around for weeks on end, and
Yeah.
you know let never mind.
No,
So he told me today, he's like, it's going to take time. He's seen that in X-rays. He's like, nothing's broken, nothing's fractured, nothing. But he fractured rib, but that was before the fall. So it just, man, it just,
yeah,
it's going to take time to heal.
it is.
I'm a, I want to heal now.
Anthony has no
Yeah.
patience. None
The
whatsoever.
last month or so, gone. Patience out, gone. I don't getting upset here, with the kids, and
Getting
because
upset with
you're
me.
stressed out, and that's the biggest thing is you're just stressed out at the end. Done. I got nothing left. On top of, she's trying to take care of her dad. Plus, she's trying to kind of take care of what's going on over here as best she can, and I'm trying to hold it together. And you know, you know, and I remember when I used to work at Walmart, they did this. They did like this. What's it called? Not a test. Oh, oh man, I can't think of the words. I'm terrible. That's just what's happened here lately. Can't think straight. I can't, concentrate. And I can't think of the word. I'm sorry. We're gonna do this. So it's like a group of us,
Oh, a training, trust exercise.
something like that. So not the trust thing, but a different kind of exercise.
Like a training
So
exercise.
like we're at work, and and so the guy, he like fills up these balloons, and I remember like seeing the first girl that went up and did it, and he was just like, well, you gotta you got to do your schedules today, and he wrote down the schedules on a balloon, gave her the balloon. And you gotta do your tour walk, give it to her, so she's got two balloons. You got to do this. You got to do these evals. You got to talk to this customer. So meanwhile, she's got like 7 or 8 balloons, helium balloons, like trying to hold all these things, and you got to divvy them out. You can't do everything yourself, and you got to share it.
I always try to tell you that.
And I'm here trying to do all this, and she keeps telling me, it's like, you have 3 capable kids there that will do stuff, and I'm trying to do everything. And
Yeah.
because part of me just wants them to be kids, but they're not really kids
They're
anymore.
28, 18, and 22.
Yeah,
They're not kids no more. 27, sorry. She's 27.
so that's how you're stressed/depressed. Then you get mad, and you like, just, there's many a days I talk to you on the phone. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to bed. I just want to end the day. Just be done. Dinner.
There were many a days where you were yelling at me, and I was just like, I don't know why you're yelling at me.
I don't either. I just, nobody else to talk to.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to talk to someone when they got headphones on. Good talk. We should do this more often.
More often. We were driving home, and our 23-year-old sitting in the back seat, and Anthony kept saying stuff to me. And she had her headphones on, and he'd be like, "Good talk, good talk."
Yeah.
And then I would go, "Taylor."
Huh?
And yes, Mom.
It's that important.
I was like, "Your dad's trying to talk to you."
Tired, exhausted, working and working and working, and then she's, everything that's going on here and everything that's going on with her dad, and you call me and you're what?
I had it. Pretty much had it. My dad is, so my dad is 71. Yeah, just turned 71. And he's completely used to having everything his own way. He's always been that way, always will be that way. And so,
Since Molly passed away.
No. It's always been that way.
He's on his own.
Yeah. Even when Molly was there, he was still that way. And so, I don't cook from packages, and I don't cook from boxes. And I buy pasture-raised eggs, and I buy organic grass-fed beef, and so I didn't know how to cook, and I didn't know how to shop, and I didn't know how to do all these things. And
who has the final say so and answer of everything?
he does.
No,
he does. Oh, Google. Google. But Daddy has the final answer on everything.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah. So I was just like, and I'm not a yes person. I'm just not that person. I used to be, but then I'm just not that person. And so he'd be like, I buy real butter. And so I leave it out. I leave it in a closed container, but I leave it on the counter or on the table or whatever. Well, I came back from grocery shopping one day and putting stuff away, and all of a sudden the butter dish was like cleaned out. And I was like, what the heck? And all of a sudden he grabs up the Google machine and starts reading about the FDA says that it's rancid and you'll get sick and blah, blah. I've never had real butter get rancid on me, and I've never gotten sick.
Maybe that Great Value stuff.
Yeah, but I don't buy Great Value stuff. And so he eats plastic stuff. And so I was like, are you for real? Like, Google is not the answer to all questions. And then he got mad and he's like, I don't understand why you always want to argue with me. And I was like, because I'm not the yes person. You want the yes person? Call my sister.
Yeah.
She'll be your yes person, because that's not me.
So she calls me like Tuesday morning. It's like, yeah, you need to come get me now.
Well, that's not even why I called you.
Well, I
but
know,
I haven't even told you why I called you. I just called you.
so that's
So I heard something and I was done. And I was like, you need to come and get us. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. So
so naturally I couldn't just go straight into work and that easy. So I was like, I got Friday. They gave me Friday off. Then like the middle of the morning Thursday, he's like, yeah, why don't you just go ahead and take off? It was like I tried to get Thursday, Friday off, and he wouldn't give it to me, so he gave me Friday. Then like I go to work 3 hours, and he's like, so I went home and showered, changed, poof, on the road. Here we go, and showed up to you about
9:30 that night.
9:30, 10 o'clock, and went to bed.
Went to the couch.
Yeah, I crashed on the couch, and we got up in the morning, and back to Florida we go. So it's
Yep. I love my dad. I love him with all my heart. And I will do whatever I need to do to help him. But there's a reason why you leave your parents' house. So that's okay though.
speaking of leaving,
Yeah.
so our daughter comes to us today and says
Moving out.
she's ready to go. She's like, I know Dad's going through all this stuff, and I said, honey,
Yeah.
you can't stop your life. And for us, you got to do what you got to do. But granted, she ain't going like 20 minutes up the road, so
Yeah.
But
And I like the kid.
yeah. So I was like, I you can't put yourself on hold for us because that's kind of
Not fair.
yeah.
But
You
I'm
kind
tired
of
of
did that
living on.
yourself.
Yeah. I'm tired of living on hold. We've got to do something. Can't stay here. So
But we gotta, once we find out what's going on, I thought for sure we're gonna have some answers today.
we'll get answers.
We didn't sleep for nothing last night.
No. I'm so tired now. But I know I gotta go make dinner. So it'll be okay. It'll be alright. So alrighty.
It's kind of I don't know. I don't know. I wish I had answers. I guess we just want to kind of put this. Uh,
Behind us.
yeah. But we'll know more next Tuesday,
Thursday.
Thursday. See, I can't even remember.
Oh my gosh, we're checking out and the lady's like she's talking to the lady sitting beside her. And she's like, so are we still a month out on PET scans? And I'm thinking to myself, if we have to wait a month, I'm going to go crazy. I'm literally going to go crazy. And she goes, well, we're a month out on PET scans. And I was like, she goes, or you can go to either Trinity
I was like,
or
let's go.
the Canto.
I didn't care
And I
where.
was like, whichever
Let's
one, pick
go.
one. I was like, whichever one's got the closest
The
opening.
soonest.
Yeah. She's like, Trinity. Do you know where that's at? And I was like, yep.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Let's go.
We'll do it.
So next Tuesday we go for that. Then Thursday he'll tell us what's happening. So hopefully he gives us some answers. Maybe not every single answer, but something that we can like. Oh, okay. You know.
So now we can, it's like those answers, and then we can just be like, so here's our plans. Will this be okay until this? Will this be okay until this?
That's what I said to my primary about. You know, we had plans to move, and he told me he's like, I wouldn't put this off. I said, great. So then I had to call Serena and tell her. Then all of a sudden everything's
I wasn't happy.
yeah, not happy. Now we're a little bit nervous, scared. Not
Yeah.
Are you gonna
You're going to be here. I already told our kids.
Yeah.
Daddy's going to walk them down the aisles. He's going to be here for all the big things. And
Are we ever going to be grandparents?
yes. I have a feeling it'll probably be sooner than later now that she's moving in there. Lord have mercy.
So I just want to kind of share this with everybody. Just
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier for me, I guess it's easier to talk to that thing than it is to, talk to some complete stranger.
Yeah. I have a hard time. I know I should look here, but the laptop is here.
Yeah.
And so I find myself looking at myself.
That's all right. It's all right.
So it's okay. We'll be okay.
I guess we'll keep you guys updated. So it's kind of I don't know. I wish I had,
It's frustrating not having answers and not knowing things. Like the three words I hate the most are I don't know. Like,
but he never said that. He never said I don't know because he probably knows
he just
better.
didn't give us answers.
He just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But I kind of got scared a little bit because he kept saying, use your imagination. He's the Asian guy. So, a couple of times, like he say something and we're like, huh?
I don't know
What? And I didn't want to be like, oh yeah. Then later I'm like, I don't know what he just said. Serena stopped him one time and I stopped him one time.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you.
I don't understand. And then he's kind of slowed it down and he seemed like a good guy. So
all doctors are fascinated with the fact that Anthony is a truck driver. They're all
they always
fascinated
ask.
with it.
Like, what do you drive? Like, I was like, well, I drive the truck, and he literally only
I
know like
love that Anthony tells them, "Well, I drive a Kenworth." Like they know what
it
a
is.
Kenworth is.
Sometimes, well, like my primary doctor, you weren't there. I was with one time I was there, and he said like about my work, and he's like, oh, you drive like a truck, and I was like, yeah, like a big. Hold on, and I just get my phone out, and I'm like, this is what I drive. He's like, oh, like. Dude, you're a doctor. I'm a truck driver. This is not like me should be like, oh, you're doing that? Come on, man. It's the hardest part of being a truck driver is dealing with all the other cars around you. But you remember he did say,
He's like, he goes, "Oh, so you go to like Georgia and back?"
said,
No.
no. I just
was
stay
like,
here in town. Oh, so you're the one that drives slow. I'm like, yes, that's me. I got no choice. It doesn't go that fast. It takes a while to get up to speed, At least I think doctors do that, and like I told you, our primary did that, and they kind of hit you with some stuff, but then he kind of tells you a story and kind of make you laugh, and I was just like, so by the time he's telling you the story, you kind of forget about everything.
No.
Yeah. Well, at that that moment, you forget about it. Then you leave, and you're like, wait a second, it's still happening. Hey, you fooled me. I don't know. So we don't know what we're doing with the move. We don't know what's happening with me. Serena's trying to hold it together, and
It'll be all right.
I got to go to work early in the morning, and we're sitting here doing this.
And I gotta go make dinner.
Right now, I don't even care about dinner.
I do. I'm hungry.
I know I'm hungry too, but
It'll be all right. It's all I got. It's in God's hands. It's in God's hands. So
I think we'll end her here. Try to update next week.
yep. He can put like a little update thing on there. He's good at that.
No, we'll just come do this again. I don't want to deal with that. That takes too long.
Okay, I'm turning you on now.
Oh, we totally forgot the why you're in Tennessee. Somebody had a birthday.
I did. Our daughter did. Our other daughter did.
That's what I was talking about, Taylor.
And Ty.
And
Jessica had a birthday.
your sister did. Guess we're just not going to talk about your birthday. How big? How big?
How big? It wasn't big at all.
It wasn't big at all.
Had crystal burgers.
And you paid for it the next day.
I did. But they were so good at
How
that
old are
time.
we now? Do we want to talk about that? We don't have to.
Oh, it's fine. I'm 50. And my dad thought he was going to embarrass me at therapy because we had to go to therapy on my birthday, and he thought he was going to embarrass me. Look, my daughter over there, she's 50 years. And then all the therapists is in there, and they're like, oh, I'm in the 50 club. I'm in the 50 club. And I was like,
50 Club, great.
yeah. I was like, whatever. I was like, it's fine.
The only good thing I like about when Serena has her birthday, because her birthday's in March and mine is in May, that, when she has her birthday, that she's always 2 years younger than me.
Younger.
2 years older. I'm 2 years younger than her for
Oh,
about a month or so.
yeah. Thanks.
How do you feel about that?
It's fine.
I guess it was funnier when we were younger.
Yeah. That's because you used to walk around being like, I married a cougar. Whatever. You're a dork.
So, yeah. But I guess we'll finish her here, and like I said, we'll try to let you guys know what's happening.
Yep.
Thanks for everybody watching, and it's been a while since we did anything, but we'll try to do some more. It's kind of hard, it would be weird to do a video by myself and just sit here without Serena. I was actually going to get like a picture and just put you in and just talk, then you would be like this the whole time, and just have like your voice on there. But I was like, I forget it, but yeah. So,
It's alright. I'm back now.
but thanks for watching, everybody.
See you soon.
We'll talk to you guys when we know.
Bye.
See you later.